Dear classes of 2020 and 2021, and your families and friends and loved ones, congratulations. Let me also acknowledge President Camille, trustees, faculty, staff, and administration, fellow honorees, and dear Dominican Sisters of Peace. Because last year's commencement was canceled, I've had many months to choose a sophisticated topic for my address: the peanut butter sandwich. Let me tell you a story with 3 lessons that will make you a happier person and a better human being. I'm part of a group that distributes sandwiches and soup in Midtown Manhattan on Tuesday evenings, and when the pandemic descended, the indoor atrium where we distributed the food was shut down. For those of you who have had jobs in atriums, libraries, or fast food outlets, their shutdown must have been a terrible blow to your income. But for folks who live on the streets, their whole life ecosystem was blown to pieces when such places shut down. That's where they checked email, charged their phones, went to the bathroom, warmed up, and so on. Because so much else closed down, our little group remained committed to our food distribution. And so, on every Tuesday evening for the last year, we've walked or driven around Midtown streets to visit these friends of ours. And by the way, though hundreds of things became worse during the pandemic, at least one thing sure got better. Man, did it become easy to drive a car in Midtown at rush hour. In April and May of last year, Midtown was ghost town. Populated, it seemed, only by the police, the occasional delivery guy for food on a bicycle, and people who lived on the street. So one evening I turn onto 51st Street, see a guy, pull over and introduce myself. Let's call him Ryan, that's not his real name. And when I offer him a peanut butter sandwich, he looks as grateful as if I offered him $100. So I ask if he wants another sandwich, maybe to save for tomorrow's breakfast. And his grateful look now turns horrified. I couldn't take another, he says. People further along 51st Street under the scaffolding, they may need sandwiches. I've seen Ryan only 2 or 3 times since that evening, but I think about him almost every week. And I want you to think about him too, because he reinforced 3 invaluable life lessons. Be more grateful, be more generous, and never give up on yourself or on others. First lesson, be more grateful. When you heard Ryan's story, maybe you thought, well, of course he was grateful. He probably didn't know where his next meal was coming from, and someone appears out of nowhere and offers food. Heck, I'd be grateful too. But why should you or I be any less grateful for today's meal simply because we know where tomorrow's meal is coming from? Indeed, shouldn't we be infinitely more grateful because when the pandemic came, we had enough money to raid supermarkets and stock up on enough peanut butter and toilet paper to last for a decade? Many of us know the Lord's Prayer. Give us this day our daily bread. That prayer is answered every day. Why aren't we more grateful every day? Every great spiritual tradition teaches us to be grateful, and psychology affirms what our traditions teach. The research shows that grateful people tend to be healthier, happier, and more productive. So lesson 1 from Ryan, be more grateful every single day, not just for the big things, like you've made it to graduation, but for so many things that you take for granted. Like you were able to fasten your own shoes today, and almost all of us could stand up and walk to our seats today, and it's not raining yet. Second lesson from Ryan, be more generous. When Ryan refused that second sandwich, he took my breath away. I immediately thought of that gospel story where a poor widow puts only a penny into the collection plate, and Jesus says, "This poor widow put in more than all the rest, for those others have all made offerings from their surplus wealth, but she from her poverty has offered her whole livelihood." That's exactly what Ryan did. For all I know, he had no surplus food whatsoever. Yet he willingly gave up his entire food security so that someone else might eat a first sandwich. He made me ashamed of myself, and also a little bit sad, because I realized I've never been that radically generous. I wonder how I, or you, could become more like Ryan. Can religious faith inspire it? Or is it by suffering hardship yourself that you become more generous to others who suffer hardship? I have a warning for you. Your college education is a wonderful gift, but it can bring a terrible curse. Your degree may help you to earn lots more money, but a degree sometimes afflicts those of us who accumulate money. Believe it or not, something can go wrong with your hands. They begin to clench too tightly. It becomes harder and harder to loosen your grip, stretch out your hands, and share all that you have. And so Ryan's second lesson, be more generous. Share not just your surplus, but the substance of your time, money, advice, and the many other gifts you have. Third lesson from Ryan, never give up on yourself or on others. Ryan and the other folks I meet on the street have taught me so much about resilience. I've met people who had the street equivalent of a 5-star hotel, a quiet sleeping spot on 46th Street with a subway grating blowing warm air up from underneath and construction scaffolding overhead that shielded them from rain and snow. Then the scaffolding got torn down. You know what they did? They moved to the next spot. They got on with life. They've taught me to try a little harder to keep going when small things throw me off course. These folks, after all, kept going when their entire living arrangement disappeared overnight. Why do I get thrown off course when I wait on hold for 3 minutes before an airline agent picks up my phone call? I don't have to teach you graduates about resilience. Some of you have overcome more obstacles in the last few years than other people face in a lifetime. Some of you here returned to college after having to postpone higher education for years. Some of you juggled college with a job, maybe with 2 jobs, and maybe with childcare, and maybe with childcare and elder care. And almost all of you, I suspect, spent nights wondering how to pay for your education. Never, I tell you, feel insecure, embarrassed, or inferior because of such challenges. Indeed, overcoming them and reaching this day should make you the most confident people of everyone here today. Always remember, what Nelson Mandela told us about a life well lived. Don't judge me by my successes. Judge me by how many times I've fallen and gotten back up again. Of course, none of us has gotten back up again entirely on our own. When we fell, others helped us back up. A teacher didn't give up on you 15 years ago when you struggled with math, or a professor didn't give up on you 3 months ago when that final paper was overdue, or a coach kicked your ass until you discovered what excellence you were truly capable of, and, above all, a mom breastfed you, and a mom or a dad slaved at one and maybe even 2 jobs that they may not have liked at all, just so you could reach this moment. Now it's your turn to emulate such people by paying all that love forward. Don't give up on those close to you, and don't give up on all those others in need whom God may send into your life at serendipitous moments. Please think of everything I've been saying today as nothing more than encouragement to lead your core Albertus Magnus values, like prayer, community, and service. In other words, pray to be a more grateful, generous person who serves your community by not giving up on others. I'm leaving you with those 3 lessons, but I'm sorry that I will also leave you with a final homework assignment before you can receive your diploma. Right now, I want you to recall with deep gratitude some of the people who didn't give up on you. And I want you, today or tomorrow, to call or text your gratitude to some of these people. Heck, why wait until tomorrow? Why not pull out your smartphone right now and text some love or gratitude to somebody who did not give up on you? Dear fellow graduates, thank you for listening, and I wish you the very best in all of your endeavors in the years to come.